Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Hour. I'm really excited about today's topic. Japanese students are famous for their incredible memory skills and study techniques. And today, I want to share their secrets with you in a simple, practical way that you can use to remember everything, not just in English, but in any area of life. First, let me start with a story. I once met a student named Akira, a Japanese university student studying English. Akira could memorize long lists of vocabulary, complex grammar rules, and even entire passages of text, and he could recall them effortlessly days, weeks, or even months later. At first, I thought it was pure talent, but the more I observed, the more I realized it wasn't magic. It was technique. It was strategy. And that's the part I want to share with you today. The first thing you need to understand is that memory is not about intelligence. You don't have to be a genius to remember things. Your brain works in patterns, associations, and connections. Japanese students excel at turning information into patterns, stories, and visuals that their brain can easily hold on to. So, the first strategy is visualization. Whenever you want to remember a word or a concept, don't just read it or repeat it, create a picture in your mind. If the word is mountain, imagine a huge, majestic mountain with snow on top, standing tall. If it's a concept like freedom, picture someone opening their arms and running into the sunlight. Your brain loves pictures because it's wired to remember visuals far more easily than words alone. The second technique is association. Japanese students often link new information to something they already know. This could be a word, an image, a personal experience, or even a funny story. Let's say you're trying to remember the word elephant. Instead of just memorizing the definition, imagine an elephant wearing your favorite hat, walking through your living room. The stranger funnier, or more unique the association, the more likely you are to remember it. Your brain loves novelty, and it will cling to unusual or emotionally charged connections. Another secret is chunking. This is a technique that makes remembering large amounts of information much easier. Japanese students rarely try to memorize everything in isolation. Instead, they break information into smaller, meaningful chunks. For example, if you want to memorize a long English sentence, you don't try to remember it word by word. You divide it into small groups like subject plus verb, objects, prepositional phrase, and so on. Each chunk becomes a building block, and when you put them together, you can recall the whole sentence effortlessly. This works not just for words, but for numbers, grammar rules, and even study material for exams. Spaced repetition is another crucial technique. Japanese students don't cram. They review information at carefully timed intervals. You might learn a word today, review it tomorrow, then 3 days later, then a week later. Each time you recall it, your memory gets stronger, and it moves from short-term memory to long-term memory. This is why Akira could recall words months later without reviewing them constantly. His memory system was smart, not hard. Active recall is also key. This is different from passive reading or highlighting. Instead of just looking at words in a book, Japanese students test themselves constantly. They cover the answer and try to recall it from memory. They write down words, repeat them out loud, or use flashcards. This is what really makes memory stick. The act of retrieving information strengthens the neural connections in your brain. Another element that is sometimes overlooked is focus and environment. Japanese students often create an ideal study environment: quiet, organized, free from distractions. They also study in short, concentrated bursts rather than marathon sessions. The brain remembers information better when it's fully focused and not overwhelmed by fatigue. Even 10 minutes of deep, undistracted practice can be more effective than an hour of distracted study. One of the most powerful habits is emotion and story-based learning. Memory sticks when it's connected to feelings. Japanese students often turn information into small stories or scenarios that evoke emotion. If you're learning a new word like magnificent, don't just memorize the dictionary definition. Create a tiny story. Yesterday, I saw a magnificent rainbow after the rain. I felt amazed and happy. Suddenly, the word is not just a definition, it's an experience, and your brain remembers experiences much better than abstract facts. I want to give you a simple daily routine inspired by Japanese students that can transform your memory. Pick 5 new words or concepts each day. Visualize them vividly. Make unique, funny, or emotional associations. Break longer information into chunks. Practice active recall. And review them the next day, 3 days later, and a week later. Within a month, you'll notice that words, grammar rules, or any information you study will stick much more naturally. The final secret is mindset. Japanese students often approach learning with curiosity and patience. They don't get frustrated when they forget something. Instead, they see it as a sign that their brain needs reinforcement. They focus on consistency and smart techniques rather than speed. When you adopt this mindset, remembering everything becomes less stressful and far more achievable. So, to recap, if you want to remember everything like the Japanese student, remember these strategies: visualize, associate, chunk, use spaced repetition, practice active recall, study in focused bursts, connect learning to emotions or stories, and maintain the right mindset. These are not just tricks, they are habits that train your brain to remember efficiently and naturally. Thank you for joining me on the English Hour. Start applying these techniques today, and you'll be amazed at how much easier it becomes to remember words, sentences, and even complex ideas. Your memory can be powerful, and with these strategies, you can unlock its full potential. Keep practicing, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next episode.